for me, this movie is either a hot or a cold item. If you loved or even maybe even liked the first Bird Box with Sandra Bullock, you really liked the movie and really found it charming or scary, whatever the case may be, you're really anxious to see this movie to see if they add on to the lore, go and actually add on to things to go ahead and actually make it the expanded universe. So you're ready for it. Or if you didn't like it, or it has no interest for you as far as that type of horror and gore or what have you, things like that, there's really no interest for anyone outside of those two perspectives to go and actually watch this one. And for me, that's a little bit of a problem with even making this movie. Now, for myself, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being ice cold, 10 being absolute scorching hot, I'm like at a 5.5. I enjoyed parts of the original. There were some creep factors there, a couple of good performances, and overall it was decent. Did I think that a sequel was warranted or that people were looking for a sequel? Nah, not really. I didn't really think it was necessary. So for me, this is putting me on the fence again. I hate being on the fence, but you know, as far as perspective on there, I gotta be honest with you, is that I could go either way with this particular film as far as going into it. I could be the main target audience because I like the first one, okay? I could also be a casual viewer thinking that, you know what, sequel was not necessary for this. So, letting you know my perspective up front, because I think you should know where your reviewer comes from when they're doing their reviews. Because I like to go and actually review new movies as they appear on streaming content only, because they're exclusive to the streaming shows, to go ahead and actually see if it's worth your time. If that sounds intriguing to you, do me a favor, click like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And now, let's take a look at this movie. Bird Box Barcelona premiered on Netflix in July of 2023. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 50 minutes. It was filmed in Spain and is mostly in Spanish, but it does have English dubbing, so you're safe there. It stars Mario Casas as Sebastian and Georgina Campbell as Claire. So the story we got for this one is, after a mysterious force decimates the world's population by causing all who see it to take their lives, Sebastian and his young daughter Anna must navigate their own journey of survival through the desolate streets of Barcelona. But as they form an uneasy alliance with survivors and make their way toward a safe haven, a threat more sinister than the unseen creatures grows. So, for main target audiences, they're going to be looking for more gore and more lore. Of course, they want good action, they want good characters to root for, but it's a horror drama. So, naturally, in sequels, you want more gore and you want more lore, is what the mains are going to be looking for. Pretty cut and simple. For a casual viewer, it's about the story. Make it make sense for how and why these beings and events are happening. Give us solid characters to cheer for or to hate, whatever it's going to be. And the action should pace the character development scenes, meaning that I shouldn't be all action and need to go and slow it down sometimes, and I shouldn't be too much slowdown when I'm expecting horror and some action to go on there. So good pacing is necessary. So let's break this down. In regards to the story, first and foremost, the story appears to be happening at a similar time as the first part of the original movie, if you're kind of placing it as far as where it is in the lore of the first original Bird Box, right? As this one starts off where it's only months into the events that have devastated the Earth. We follow the story from the perspective of Sebastian, similar to how we did with Sandra Bullock's character in the first. There is a significant twist that is clear about 15 minutes of the movie that changes up the goal or premise of Sebastian. I think that was original and a good change to go ahead and actually do. I can't tell you about what it is because I'm trying not to spoil anything for you guys, but it's a different perspective that they're giving the main character. There's also something to be said for the change of scenery and being outside of America. So this happening in Spain is different cultures, different ways how they're going to react or what have you, just a little bit different, right? The pacing of horror or action scenes to the character-driven scenes are fine. We actually see more horror this time than in the original, and that's to be expected because, as we said, we need more gore in sequels. And there's actually a couple of inventive ways that the characters were taken out, that they're dead. So the horror and action scenes were fine. And it's primarily because they're with everyday regular people. So the mix of what people would do in various situations makes sense. Meaning that when you have like action people or people that are trained to kill or whatever, something like that, those are different than everyday people and what they're asked to do and say and experience and what have you. So for the setting of everyday people, I accept the various different inventive ways that folks are killed off on here. It can be interesting. Where the movie kind of loses me a bit is one, there is a lean into kind of spirituality and or mental illness that feels unsettling. And I can't go into depth without spoiling, but the questions left me ultimately unfulfilled. Also, we do follow various other people and survivors in this movie, but honestly, I didn't get connected to any of them. Maybe perhaps with the little girl in the movie that was without her mother for most of the movie, but that's about it. And that's even including the main character. There were scenes set up to make you care about who they are and what they're going through, but it somehow kind of seems forced. It just, for whatever reason, it didn't resonate with me. The story aspect of things will probably be okay for like mains because they're there for the gore and the lore. But I'm thinking casuals are not going to be so vibing with this particular story. It's just how I feel. As for the acting, I can't really say I liked any of the performances. They were decent, but as I previously stated, I don't like the unease or tension of the situations in most scenes. There were a couple of good scenes that I believed were decent, but overall, I wasn't impressed with the acting. There's no real standouts in this one. I think both mains and casuals will kind of be meh on the acting in this particular movie. Some other thoughts that I have. One of the things that I was looking forward to is the creators kind of furthering the lore. And I feel some people will kind of say that they did, and conceptually they did, as in kind of giving another way that the creatures can affect humans. But ultimately, we don't find anything more about the why or where these creatures come from. There's speculation in the first and the second one, but ultimately we don't know because these are like speculations of everyday people of what's going on. So there's no experts, no government officials, there's nobody saying like, this is definitely where these beings come from and this is what they're doing, whatever, blah blah blah. We're just guessing here, just what we would do, as regular people, what have you. But it kind of leaves you unfulfilled. This is the second movie in this universe. We should have a better understanding of the creatures, what have you, and we don't, and that's somewhat disappointing. And as in the case with the original, we don't see what the beings actually are, so we don't have anything from them either, meaning that we can't even, it's not like a situation where like if there was aliens and then they showed up on and we go to the alien ship and we know what they're doing or whatever, something like that, because we don't know what these beings look like, very much like the first one or what have you. So we don't get any definition from them either, so we're left to guess. And I know people will say, well, that's actually kind of the lure, the intriguing aspect of things, of not seeing the scariness of the human mind and imagination. I can understand that, but this insinuates that we're seeing something, though. It's not as if everything is in the humans' heads. They're seeing something. Now, whether it's a freaking bright light, whether it's an alien, whether it's a demon, whatever the case may be, something's there. And we should go ahead and actually, the human mind, we go and actually insert our own things as far as what scares us more and things of that nature. And I get that aspect of it. But when you get the second time in a movie or what have you, I just feel like I would like to go ahead and actually see, even if it's a little bit of them. That's just how I feel. It's neither here nor there, because now it's time to get to the verdict. For main target audiences, people that like the original and really want to build on that, or people that like general horror that are very much isolated horrors or things of that nature, I'm going to go ahead and actually say that you'll probably want to add this to your playlist. It's not a must-watch right away or anything like that, but the things that you can go and actually really grab onto is that it's a new setting in Spain, so totally different people, totally different type of environment. It's a different perspective of the main character as far as what drives them, what motivates them. And they come up with a few creative ways that people are taking out in this movie. But the lack of furthering the story and the lackluster acting leads it to the realm of we don't have to rush to watch this, we can watch this kind of like whenever. For casuals, I'm gonna have to say this is a skip it. The original was better and had way more story developed for the characters that you actually cared about. Even some of the side characters you cared more about. I would go and actually say watch the original one if you want to go into this universe and see if you like that. That's just going to be a better take on it. Or honestly, if you want a better version of this type of horror, watch A Quiet Place, as it did everything better than the original and definitely better than this one. And that one was better acted, better produced, all that kind of good stuff. But for me, I'm going to go and actually say for mains, add it to your playlist to watch sometime in the future. For casual viewers, I'm just going to say skip it. That's what I have for Bird Box Barcelona on Netflix. Check it out. I appreciate you staying with me for the entire review. Year one, I like you. Do me a favor. Can you go ahead and actually click like, or even better yet, subscribe to the channel so I can go and actually continue to grow. And if you even got some more time, check out one of my other reviews right here. But until next time, I'll holler at you. Take care of yourself.